Hello, guys. Welcome back to Zami Folk Stories. Thank you for subscribing, tuning in, and I hope you guys have been enjoying our series, our short stories, and I hope you guys are going to still tune in and enjoy watching them. So, first thing first, click subscribe, like, and comment. We really appreciate it. It might look like a small thing to you, but it's big to us. Thank you for tuning in. So today we are doing things different. We are introducing Zami folk stories. We are going to do folk stories from different communities. Our first community we are going to start with is the Luo community, and we are going to talk about the man himself, legendary, the OG, Lwanda Magere. I hope you guys are going to enjoy this story. Let's start off. So today we will be narrating the story about the legendary Lwanda Magere. Born in 1720 to Abonyo Wodomolo and mother Nyabera. The mother Nyabera died during childbirth when he was giving birth to Lwanda Magere. So Lwanda Magere was taken in by the grandmother, who was called Raponde. And his father died during his teenage years. During war, his father was also a warrior, strong warrior like he was. So he belonged to Shido clan in Kano, in shores of Lake Victoria. Lwanda Magere was a strong warrior, and he was believed to possess unearthly powers. And people also believed that his flesh was made of stone. So arrows and spears and clubs deflected from his body, making him invisible during war. So when they went to war, when they were trying to beat him, throw spears at him, arrows, none of them could harm him. So they wondered, who is this guy? Why can't he die? They tried everything. At that time, the Luo community enemy and traditional community enemies were the Langos. The Luos called them Jolango. It's the name for the Kalenjin community. So they were neighbors. And they were tired of every time they were going to war, they were being defeated. They didn't know what to do. They were wondering, who is this man, Lwanda Magere, who is defeating them every time they go to war? And they wanted all the ways and strategies to defeat this guy. He was famously known for capability to tear an entire army apart alone. Who could dare to defeat such a man? Remember, his body was made like a stone. No spear could harm him, no club. Nothing could hurt the legendary Lwanda Magere. So, Kalenjin community, for that time they were called the Lango. They were tired of being defeated during war by the Luos because of Lwanda Magere. And they had to come up with lots and lots of strategy so that they can win this war, because they were always becoming the losers. The war between the Luos and the Langos at that time, it is not really specified, but maybe it was community clash. People were clashing at that time because of cattle, land, marriage, boundaries, a lot of things. So they came up with a conclusion that they had to defeat Lwanda Magere. They didn't know what to do, but they had to do something, because Lwanda Magere was becoming a menace to them. Because they would go to war. This man could not be defeated. This man would tear their armies apart. The son of Abonyo Wodomolo, Mother Nyabera, could not be defeated. And he gave the Luo community lots of victory during those times. So, it happened that they came up and said, we have to defeat this man. Because they had that belief that Lwanda Magere was possessing an earthly, supernatural powers and bodies. So fighting him was not possible. So what did they do? They sat down as a community. They said, we have to defeat this man. They said, what if we go to witchcraft? The elders said, no, he possesses supernatural powers. We cannot defeat the legendary Lwanda Magere. This man is too strong for us. We have to do something. Another one said, what if we go and burn his house? No. The elder said, his body is made of stone. Can't you see? This man cannot be defeated. This man is so strong. He wears the leopard skin. This man can kill an entire army with his bare arms. So they sat down. They were frustrated with time and time and time. Now, one man came back with a solution, said, no men. Men are weak. Their weakness is what? Women. Women. So what? One man said, what do you think? Why don't we find a young virgin, a beautiful virgin in our community? We give to the legendary Lwanda Magere. They might see it's a sign of peace. But to us, we know the secret. One man raised his hand and asked, what secret could this be? Wait. You see, we'll find a young, beautiful lady, a virgin, somebody that will charm him, somebody that will make Lwanda Magere weak, somebody that will know all his secrets. You know women, and you know how they do it. We will get it soon. First of all, they were so hesitant to take their daughter. Who was ready to take their daughter to go to Lwanda Magere, to the Luos? Who knows what they were going to do to that lady? But at some time they argued, days passed by, but then they thought, anyway, that's a very good idea. Then a lady was identified, a beautiful girl in the land of Kalenjins. Beautiful teeth, white teeth. Teeth like milk. Body was chocolate, like earth when the rain has beaten the earth well. They found a very nice, beautiful lady. And they identified that this is the lady. What was the name of the lady? The lady was called Marianne. Such a beautiful name. They said they will hand over Marianne to Lwanda Magere for a hand in marriage as a gesture of peace. Then the entire Lango community saw that it was a good idea, but at first they were hesitant. They didn't know how the lady was going to be treated there, because it was going to come back with a lot of resistance. But what happened? The lady agreed and told them that, say no more. I'm going to do this. I'm going to give you whatever you want. Her mission was just one thing. Go and get the secret to defeat Lwanda Magere. Go and tell us how we can defeat this young man who has been terrorizing us for years. We are looking like we cannot fight, and we're warriors. We have arrows. No arrow can pierce this guy. Get us this guy. Get us the secret. Charm him in every way a woman you can charm. So the elders from Luo community had that. The Lango community had planned to bring a lady for marriage, but they were against it. They were against it. But Lwanda Magere, being a Luo man, would he had denied? No. Beautiful woman from Lango. Lwanda Magere said yes. Remember, Lwanda Magere had a first wife. So, in Luo community and most African traditional community, polygamy is allowed. People would marry even 1, 2, or 3, 4, 5 wives. According to the customary marriage, there's a way they used to stay. And they would stay together, the wives, 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 wives, and they would live in harmony. So Lwanda Magere agreed, despite many discouraging advice was given by the elders. Lwanda Magere did not heed the advice of the elders. So the lady was brought. Lwanda Magere decided that he was going to marry this woman. Marianne was brought to Lwanda Magere, and Lwanda Magere decided to marry her as a second wife. War was still going on, but it had just gone down because the Langos thought that their lady was still there, and they were happy that the major big warrior had married their daughter. So what's the problem? Because the lady had one mission to do. It would take ages, it was going to take years, but they had to get whatever they had sent the lady to do. So Lwanda Magere lived with his 2 wives. I don't know if they coexisted, but I think they had to, because at that time women were submissive to men. And the Lango community decided that the woman should come. So let's continue. The story is going to continue and it's going to be hot. Let's take a pause there. Okay. So Marianne was married by Lwanda Magere. Despite every advice Lwanda Magere was given, some of the elders thought, Lwanda Magere, don't you think that this is a trap? But the lady was so beautiful. Lwanda Magere could not resist the lady. So they continued to coexist with the first wife. So one day, the first wife had to go home, see her family, to attend to other duties. So Lwanda Magere started feeling bad. He started feeling sick. He was not knowing what was happening to him, but at that time, he knew, the first wife knew how to do whatever she was doing to make him feel well. So since the first wife was not around, we could not get the name of the first wife of Lwanda Magere, but we will get it and we'll tell you in the next video. Lwanda Magere fell sick, and now the second wife had to come and tend for him. Lwanda Magere told her, there's only way you can cure me. Take a blade or a knife and take some herbs from the garden. Cut my shadow and pour the herbs on my shadow. But the lady was shocked. He never saw a shadow bleeding. Then that is when Lwanda Magere confided into her and told her that this is where my strength comes from. This is where all my strength comes from. If anybody wants to harm me, it's my shadow. I'm telling you this because you're my beloved wife, and I know you're not going to betray me. The Lango lady said, yes, my love, I'll keep your secret. But The lady knew she had one mission. It's either Lwanda Magere or her community, the Lango community. So after Lwanda Magere became better, felt better, Marianne took Johnny back home with good news. She's screaming, "Hooey, hooey, I have found the solution. I have found the solution. We are going to be victorious in this war. Come everybody, come and listen to what I have to say." People gathered. I know the secret. This guy's strength comes from his shadow. What? One man has shadow? Yes. Just pierce his shadow and he will die instantly. I did it. He was sick. I cut his shadow and it was bleeding. I put some herbs on it and he felt better immediately. He was weak after the war. The man was, wow, yeah. So that it is. That's simple. The lady felt victorious. She was elated. She was praised in her community, given the traditional attire for a warrior. And the people cheered. It was marrying and it was happiness. So war was planned again to Lwanda Magere. So Lwanda Magere just knew that his wife had gone home to meet her relatives, to go and see her relatives after a long time after marriage. So he allowed her to go. So he was smoking tobacco one day in his heart. Smoking, enjoying himself as a man, a warrior he is, the legendary Lwanda Magere. That is when he heard some noises. People were rushing to him, crying to him, "Our savior, the Langos have come to attack us." The Langos? No, must be wrong. We are friends. I've married their daughter. They cannot come and attack us. He heard some noises and screaming in the village. He asked for his shield and spear. Then he was brought for. Lwanda Magere, after a long time before going to war, decided that he is going for war. He didn't understand why his in-laws were attacking his community, why the Langos were attacking the Luo community. They came in numbers to attack. They were ready to fight. The war had started. The Lango community was so courageous, knowing that they this time had the secret against the legendary Lwanda Magere. And they were going to be victorious. This time they were so courageous. War had started. Lwanda Magere went to the battlefield. The Langos came in large numbers. The war was so intense and people came in many numbers. They came to fight with their animals, with their spears and shield, their arrows, swords. People came to fight because they knew this time they got the man. They got him very good. They knew his weakness. Thanks to Marianne. Thanks to her. The war started. It was a very huge war. Lwanda Magere came with his attire, leopard skin and spear and a sword, fit for a warrior like Lwanda Magere. Was so courageous. Little did he know, these people knew his secret, knew how to get him. He had no idea that they knew what they were doing. The community came in large numbers, the Luo community. They came to fight for their community. The Langos also came to fight. So as he was fighting, one man standing on the hill saw Lwanda Magere and aimed at his shadow. He missed at once. He shot again, but this time he got him good. Lwanda Magere was gotten at his weak point, his shadow. was hurt. His shadow was killed. That was his strength. That was Lwanda Magere's weakness. The warrior shot at his shadow. The arrow. Lwanda Magere started bleeding. His shadow started bleeding. Lwanda Magere was dying. Lwanda Magere's shadow was dying. Lwanda Magere's shadow was bleeding. Lwanda Magere started to turn into a stone. He was becoming weak. The earth was swallowing him. Lwanda Magere's body was made of stone. Lwanda Magere's body could not be pierced. Lwanda Magere's body could not die, but this time he was gotten good. His body started turning into stone. Slowly, in agony, in pain, he was crying, screaming. His body started turning into stone, around stone. Lwanda Magere was struggling, but no, he was gotten good. His body was dying. Oh no. The legendary Lwanda Magere turned into a big stone. The Luo community started crying and wailing, crying, unego nyathiwa yawa, Lwanda Magere yawa, unege, oi, unego nwa Lwanda Magere, ng'ama biro konyowa yawa, oh. Poor. They cried, they wailed, their savior. All of a sudden, strong wind started blowing. Lwanda Magere had died. He was a supernatural man. Strong wind blew all over the land. Thunderstorm, lightning. Wind was blowing so hard. Dust here and there. Then after that, there was drought for 2 years after Lwanda Magere's death. And Lwanda Magere turned into a stone. Up to now, people still go to see Lwanda Magere's stone. And that is the story of our legend, Lwanda Magere the Great. Thank you for listening. Tune in for more stories. Zami Folktales.